What's up guys? Today I'm taking a look at the brand new Alesis Nitro Pro electronic drum kit. This is the Pro version of the Nitro Max, which we looked at before. You can watch that video up here if you'd like. Now, this is supposed to be more robust overall. It looks like there's probably some bigger shells, at least on the snare drum. And apparently we've got some additional BFD drum sounds. It's double kick compatible. It's supposed to be taller too, so it's catering to more older players, which I do like. And it's got our standard favorite features like Bluetooth audio, USB MIDI, comes included with the free BFD player along with free drum lessons to Drumeo. So let's dive into the unboxing, get this kit set up and see what it sounds like. As you may guess, this video is sponsored by Alesis, but that's not going to change any viewpoints that I have on the kit. So I'm hoping we will see a lot of great changes on this kit compared to all of their electronic kits we've seen in this price point from the past. Quick plug guys, we are super close to hitting 4K subs on YouTube. Thank you all for subscribing. Truly do appreciate it. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so we can hit that milestone. Now, let's get into the video. The timing on this kit was perfect. We just looked at the Cesarz Mesh SE, which has been out for quite a while now. This kit to me seems like it might be similar to the Cesarz Mesh SE, given the Nitro Max treatment with the new module. Let's get her unboxed. First off, they got real nice fonts on all of these boxes, so if you're trying to keep this organized, which I suggest you do, in fact, since this kit's on loan for me, what I like to do is take a picture of the inside of the box because I know I'm going to have to reassemble this at some point. And reassembling electronic drums back into the box they came in is almost impossible if you don't have a picture or some sort of reference. It's the world's hardest game of Tetris. Let's get out the drum module first. Ooh, it's red. Here we've got the Nitro Pro drum module. Strikingly similar to the Nitro Max drum module. Looks like it just has a little bit of a color difference. Aside from that, it looks like the inputs are all the same. Here you go. Here's your 90 days free to Drumeo. First up, the 10-inch snare drum. The shell is deep. Looks very, very similar to the Nitro Max, but it just feels a lot more substantial because, well, feels more like a real drum. Feels like all the same materials, but you just have a deeper shell. Very cool. So it's mostly plastic, the shell at least. The lugs and the tension rods, we've got metal. This bottom hoop is all plastic along with this interior piece. And the top of it, we do have a metal hoop here, but it does have a rubber coating on the top of it so that this is not gonna be quite as loud when you're hitting rim shots or rim clicks on the drum. So I assume all the drums are gonna have this same kind of rubber treatment. Ah, yes, we have these awkward looking kick tower boxes. You have to be careful with these. The way they pack them, the cardboard tends to rip pretty easily if we don't open this thing correctly. So you wanna open up the top, and then we have to open up this part as well. And I always suggest just being careful with this, even like I said, taking the picture. In any case that you need to send this back, if something goes wrong with it, if it's broken, something was damaged during shipping, at least it's just a little easier for you to pack it up. Now this has staples. Unfortunately, we will have to rip this apart. All right, definitely the most challenging box to not destroy, that's for sure. So here is the kick tower. This is a lot more substantial than what we got on the Nitro Max. This is a bigger pad. It's also a mesh drum head, which we love to see, especially on the kick drum pads. And got an all metal design on here. This part is some sort of a plastic, same with this. And then we've got metal on this rim here. This kit includes 3 8-inch toms, very similar to the Nitro Max drums. Tom 2, Tom 3. So that's all the drums on this. Let's start getting into the cymbal pads. Looks like they come in one box. They're all 10 inches. And by the way, if I didn't mention it, the toms are 8-inch. First cymbal out of the box. This is the 10-inch cymbal with choke. These look strikingly similar to pretty much any other Alesis cymbal of this size. I don't believe the design on these has changed at all. Here's another one, 10-inch cymbal with choke. And our final 10-inch cymbal is just a single zone cymbal. So this is most likely going to be the hi-hat cymbal. Here we've got the hi-hat pedal. It's an all-metal design. No change as far as I can tell from previous generation models of these kits. I think even with the Surge Mesh SE, I think these are all the same thing. But they're high quality, they do the job, and it's all metal. So, I mean, aside from like a couple pieces on here, it's built to last. Here we've got the Alesis kick pedal. All right, well, if you've seen any of my other videos on Alesis electronic drum sets, this is the kick pedal that they offer. It's very, very standard. It's all metal, it's a good design. Eventually, we'll take this and we'll plop it in here once we get a drum key. And you wanna make sure that you use the plastic side, especially because this kick pad is made from a mesh material. The felt side will eat away at that mesh and you'll have to replace that piece of the drum. Box of accessories. Cables to attach the pads to the module. This is a piece for the rack. This is one of the cymbal arms. Some drumsticks. Cable wraps and a drum key, power adapter, posts for the rack. These will hold our tom drums. Last but not least, the drum rack. Ooh, this is a heavy one. First up, one piece of the drum rack. This is basically one side of the rack that'll sit like that. All of the pieces are gonna follow the same type of design here, where we have a metal pole, rubber on the bottom for the foot, and then the parts that connect the rest of the rack together, these are made from plastic. Here's another leg. Here we've got the leg that holds the snare drum, the toms, and then the other side of the rack. And our other leg. Underneath here are all the rest of the rack pieces, all the curved bars and whatnot. Very similar to the legs, except that for these, we actually have the tom mounts on here. These are plastic. They do have wing nut clamps, making this a little bit easier to move around where you want. Metal bar, plastic clamps. Curved bar too. More cymbal stands. These stands are bigger than what I originally showed you. That first one we found in the accessories box was for the hi-hat. These ones are a bit taller so you can get your cymbals up higher. Another curved rack here. And here's our final rack piece. Surprisingly, this one for some reason has metal wing nut clips, but this is still plastic. I'm unsure why this one is the only one that uses metal wing nuts, but we'll roll with it. So we've got the Alesis Nitro Pro all set up, and I decided, since my videos are really long sometimes, I put together a separate how-to assembly video for this kit, and you can watch that right here. Open it up in a new tab if you need to have some detailed instructions on how to put this all together. Let's continue onward and hear how this kit sounds. let's talk about the drum module on the Nitro Pro. First of all, they brought over the same design from the Nitro Max. So we have this little tablet holder / device holder, so you can put our phone there for now. It's really cool. Power button is located on the back. This unit fires up really fast. Some basic controls that you'll want to know when using this right out of the box. The big plus and minus buttons are going to control which preset kit you're on, right? We have 36 preset kits, and 37 through 52 are going to be your user kits, where you can make any kind of drum set you want with the sounds that are included in the module. So there's 3 buttons on the top here. The main ones we are concerned with are going to be this first one. So if we click that, that's gonna adjust the kit volume, the reverb level, the EQ of the high, middle, and low, and then it begins to loop back around. The second button is going to control individual pad voices. So for example, if I'm to go over here and hit the snare drum, that is going to change which drum is selected on the module. And then from here, we can go in and change this voice to a different snare drum. As you go around the drums, you'll see that these are all changing. So if you want to change a tom or a cymbal, all you need to do is hit the drum first. Make sure you are selected on the voice button, and you can make your own kits that way. There are 60 programmed songs in this module you can play along to. A couple other things on the voice button as we go through here. We can adjust volumes, we can adjust panning left and right. If you're wearing headphones, you can adjust where you hear each drum, left or right. There is the pitch function as well as individual reverb, and that's kind of where I would say beginners need to start with. There's quite a lot of different functions in here, but if you just stick to those beginning ones, you're gonna be just fine. I don't really think you need to do too much tweaking to these sounds as they are. Now, if you have made changes to a kit, let's say I change this snare drum to number 70, decide you wanna save this as a preset, all you do is press the save button here, and then you can choose which user kit you want to assign this to. So for this one, I'm going to do 39, hit save, and now you can always go back to that same kit and it's ready to go every time. The last thing I want to demonstrate on this module is how to connect to Bluetooth. So it's really simple. There's a Bluetooth button here. We're going to hold down on it until it starts blinking. And this functions the way a lot of Bluetooth devices do. So if we go onto our phone here, if you're not seeing it show up, sometimes just reset your Bluetooth. There it is at the bottom. Let's click that. And it might take a minute here, but now it's connected. So you can see it up top. Now all we have to do is if we want to play a song, there you go. So Alesis has had the Nitro Max out for quite a while now, and it's been received really, really well. It's one of their best-selling drum sets available, probably ever, honestly. There were some things that people wanted to change about it, right? Like for me, for example, when I looked at the Nitro Max, I thought, well, the rack was like kind of wobbly, and it felt, like I couldn't space the kit out enough. Like for me, it felt really compact to me, and it just was a little too tight feeling. So Alesis kind of addressed some of these problems, and we have now the Nitro Pro. It's just much more substantial of a drum set, and the drums are higher up off the ground, so I don't feel like I'm playing into the ground, and I don't need to use furniture risers to bring this kit up. So I mean, a lot of taller drummers are gonna benefit from a kit like this. Hobbyists, if you're just getting back into drumming, like this is a really solid drum set that's not too expensive, but it's not like right at the entry level point. So you're getting something that's quality, and you don't have to invest too much money into it to get a good playing experience. Some of the biggest features of the Nitro Pro: on the module, we've got Bluetooth audio, and there is a stereo aux input if you want to connect the old way, but with all our devices these days, you can just connect Bluetooth right to this thing, and it's easy to jam along with your favorite music streaming service. Again, like with the Nitro Max, the Nitro Pro has the built-in device holder on the module, which is something we've kind of needed because you can get a separate stand to hold a tablet or your phone or whatever device you might be using, but having it built right in makes it so easy. You can follow along with any sort of YouTube content, any sort of Drumeo lessons, whatever it might be. It makes it really, really simple. Just like with most Alesis drum modules, we have the USB MIDI output on the back here so we can connect to a laptop. And with the most recent generation of Alesis drums, they come bundled with the free BFD player, which is a really cool collaboration between BFD, Legendary Software, and Drum Sample Company, and obviously Alesis, kind of putting those sounds right in the module, which is really cool. And the BFD player, you're gonna use a laptop and you're gonna gain access to even more sounds. And because they're not directly in the module and they're being loaded by an external software on a laptop, they have just like more memory and more microphone locations and room sounds and ambience that they can do to make those samples sound even more realistic. So you can take your module and just open up the sound so much more if you have a laptop to connect to and download the software, and it's free. BFD player also has a bunch of expansions you can download, so there's that too. As far as the kits go on the module, we have 52 total between the BFD, the classic kits, and the user kits, right? So 36 preset kits, and then we get 16 user kits that you can edit and make your own kits up, which is really cool. I'm a stickler when it comes to drum samples, so I'm not like too impressed with the samples of the Nitro Pro, but I will say that for beginning drummers, intermediate players, this is gonna be amazing and you're gonna love this kit. So who should upgrade? If you don't have an electronic drum set, I would say intermediate players, beginner adult players can benefit from this kit. Maybe if you're a hobbyist, maybe an adolescent drummer, you could definitely grow into this. Like if you're a parent shopping for a younger kid, I would kind of stay away from some of those unknown brands on Amazon. Sometimes they can be a little sketchy as far as the quality goes. So I don't want you to be disappointed and have something you're gonna get rid of. So the Nitro Pro is something that they can really grow into, and it's something that you're not gonna spend too much money on if they decide to give up drums, but it will retain its value and have a good resale value on the used market as well. Composers and producers, definitely a good way to get MIDI into your recording software. That's kind of what I do on the side. So this is kind of a cool tool for me when I'm working with bands who use programmed drums, so that I can have them come in here, play along, and then we can kind of mess with their parts later on. So this is a really good function for something like that. Any composers, producers, recording studios. And this is a good option for educators as well. If you need an electronic drum set at your school, this is an affordable way to bring this type of technology into the classroom. Maybe if you have a practice room, you can have this set up and it's not gonna be as noisy and loud as a real drum set. It also gets kids learning on this type of instrument sooner rather than later, because these types of instruments, they're not going anywhere. Drummers around the world are more and more integrating electronics into their setup. So developing proper technique on an instrument like this is a really good idea, since electronic drums play differently than acoustic drums do. No matter how much electronic drums try to mimic the experience of acoustic drums, there's just no way that that's possible yet. So I like the idea of getting kids started on these and acoustic drums as early as possible. And I will say, with that snare drum clamp being metal now, those wing nuts, it does make for a more sturdy experience so far. I mean, I have it kind of cranked down on there, and the snare drum is staying up. And I was playing this kit for a solid hour straight, just testing these different presets. And it hasn't moved at all. It has not budged. And also the rack is so much better. It is not wobbly at all. It is super sturdy. So good job, Alesis. You listened and you delivered on this one. Just like with the Nitro Max as well, the foot splashes on the hi-hat pedal are flawless. They work really great. And a lot of the presets, like I said, have rim clicks, which allows you to kind of explore your creativity and go further with playing the drums. I mean, with the dual zone toms, it opens up your playing to so much more. With the Nitro Pro, you're not going to get a drum throne, so that is an extra expense you have to factor in. You're not gonna wanna just use a chair you have lying around. You could get away with it for a little while, but definitely I recommend getting a real drum throne. I also suggest upgrading the kick pedal, though I will say the stock Alesis kick pedal does work pretty well. Now with the snare drum, you can't do rim clicks where they're kind of like detected. You'd have to program in a rim click sound on the rim sensor, so you'd have to change some settings. Basically, if you're a drummer and you already play the acoustic drums, maybe you need another drum set for practice. Maybe you're annoying people in your house. Maybe you live in an apartment, you know, and it's just not totally feasible to be practicing at all hours of the day or night. This is a really good solution, and I say that about pretty much any electronic drum set available. I do appreciate the fact that these rims, they are pretty quiet for the amount of rubber that is on here, so that is a plus. mean, if you do lay into them, they will be kind of annoying, but I mean, overall, like we've done a lot of kit reviews where the kick pad is super loud. And if we compare this to the Nitro Max, the kick pad on that drum set is definitely a lot louder, being the fact that it's made from more of like a rubber material. This, you have the mesh material, and it is far quieter. Even the cymbals themselves are pretty quiet too, so this is a really solid kit if you're looking to bring the noise down if you're practicing. And another thing too with the larger size kick pad is we can use double bass pedals a lot easier on this, and in testing I felt like it was pretty decent as far as triggering goes, and you could have heard that in the sound demos. I'm super impressed with the Alesis Nitro Pro, and I think it is a solid new kit from Alesis. But I am curious to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Be sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button. We are so close to 4,000 subscribers, so let's meet that milestone. And by the way, in the comments too, let me know like what kits you want me to look at next. I've got more information on this kit also linked down below, so be sure to check that out. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Thank you for watching. YouTube thinks you might like this next video right here. Let me know if they're right.